Introducing the SmashScope, the new modding tool for objectively testing GameCube controllers. With this tool you can test snapback, dashback, ledge dashes, pivots, and more objectively. There's also a notch visualizer tool and a controller tester. The controller test displays all of the buttons and sticks on the controller. You can test rumble by pressing Z as well. The notch visualizer makes notching more intuitive. It shows the range of values to aim for and highlights different colors depending on how close you are. The most impressive tool in all of this is the oscilloscope. There's a snapback mode, a ledge dash mode, a dashback mode, and a pivots mode. The oscilloscope tracks the X and Y position of your stick. The different modes work by triggering a snapshot of your stick position when you do a certain input. To scroll through different oscilloscope modes, press D-pad right. To toggle the X-axis display, press X. To toggle the Y-axis display, press Y. Press Z to toggle between the analog stick and the C stick. Press A to lock in the current display. After it's locked in, you can zoom and scroll with C stick. I will show two different controllers and show the differences between them using the oscilloscope. The controller on the right has POD and the other controller has new potentiometers. To use the snapback mode, simply flick left or right. The values displayed here show how far your controller is snapping back. These values correspond to this line, which shows how far your controller is snapping back. One way of determining if your controller has POD is it may not give the typical squiggly line when snapping back. If the snapback level goes above 23, your controller has a chance of misinputting when you let it snap back. To fix this, modders add capacitors of varying sizes until the line goes below 23 when you flick. You can do this in the vertical direction as well. You can test the C stick for POD as well by pressing Z, then doing the same test with the C stick. To use dashback mode, smash the stick to the left or right. The value here shows your dashback percent. Generally, the higher your dashback percent, the better. Only controllers with POD have high dashback percent. To use pivot mode, flick left then right or right then left, then let go. The value here shows the percent chance you will successfully pivot. Your goal here is to get as close to 100% as possible. If the percent is green, that means you are too fast with the pivot input. If the percent is red, that means you are too slow with the pivot input. Some controllers aren't able to pivot because they have POD. If you always get a low percent in the red, no matter the input, it's probably because your controller has POD. To use the ledge dash mode, flick diagonally either down left or down right. The value here will show the delay between the X-axis signal and the Y-axis signal. If the text is red, that means the X-axis signal is moving faster than the Y-axis signal. To have good ledge dashes, you want the X-axis signal to be significantly more delayed than the Y-axis signal. If the text is green, that means the X-axis is more delayed than the Y-axis, which is good for ledge dashes. Generally, if this value is greater than 16, you will have good ledge dashes. The capacitance of the X and Y axis can affect how good your ledge dashes are. Generally, you want the capacitance on the Y to be as small as possible and the capacitance on the X to be as large as possible to get the best ledge dashes. If the capacitance is too low on the Y-axis, you might have vertical snapback, and if the capacitance is too large on the X, you might have issues with dashing. Calibrating the correct capacitance is a balancing act between what you consider most important: dashing, snapback, and ledge dashing.